Autochtone.
How many kids did you molest with Jeffrey Epstein?
Government is prepared to take more actions. What more actions are you prepared to take?
Most important thing to do, or way to start in a crisis, is to distinguish between what you can change and what you can't. This may not be a big insight, but I don't think we can change Donald Trump. And a person who worships Donald Trump like Pierre Poilievre.
Welcome to Canada.
Thank you very much.
It's a great honor. Happy birthday. A few days short.
Still think that it would be helpful for Canadians to know exactly what you would do when it comes to tariffs. So why are you being so reticent to talk about that?
Because I'm a good negotiator. I have negotiated a number of situations in the past. I know how to manage crises.
The rules say that those assets should be publicly disclosed within 120 days, which means you'll campaign in a coming federal election, most likely within the next 120 days, and are serving as Prime Minister now, with Canadians not being aware of what potential conflicts of interest you sought to avoid.
What possible conflict would you have, Stephanie? Stephanie, I'm complying with the rules. I'm complying with the rules in advance. Point final.
W.T.F.
Mark Carney, like all Liberals, is a high-tax hypocrite.
Government is prepared to take more actions. What more actions are you prepared to take?
Look inside yourself, Rosemary.
Gang, what's up? Like, we're waiting for another by-election to see if Pierre Poilievre can win back a seat that had just been won by the Conservatives, and there's so much controversy around that riding, like the ballot stuffing, the longest ballot committee's interference. It's straight up election interference. Let's pay attention to Mark Carney, though. He dodges, divides, distracts Canadians to no end. He won't answer a single question.
How many kids did you molest with Jeffrey Epstein?
From the press that he doesn't want to answer. Like, he just turns his back. We saw that right now. We just saw it. And he'll continue to do this. Pierre Poilievre is going to follow him up with an explanation of how your tax dollars are being spent. But this guy, Mark Carney, like, anything he can do to avoid answering a question that actually has to do with the issues in Canada, well, this guy is a lost cause. Let's take a look at our loser prime minister. He's a failure.
What C5 helps us do is be a more effective partner. One of the aspects of that, to the second part of your question, is coordinating much better with the environmental assessments that are done, if I might say, with provinces, as an example, but under and consistent with modern treaties.
So Jordan's principle is designed to ensure Indigenous children have sustainable, equal access to government services. Recent administrative changes by the federal government have led to the loss of around 79 educational positions in Yellowknife School, several of which have large numbers of Indigenous students. Premier R.J. Simpson reportedly raised this issue with you directly. Will you commit to restoring Jordan's principal funding for these schools? And if not, can you explain why, please?
I've had a number of discussions with Premier Simpson, including yesterday, around a range of issues. That's the first. We're absolutely committed to ensuring that our youth get a proper education, proper social services, and we provide the funding according to that, consistent with that. We will be discussing today the Inuit Child First approach, and making sure that we can provide. One of the issues that will be addressed today is, or discussed today and needs to be addressed, is more stable and secure funding for the Inuit Child First program.
We'll do one last question.
Okay,
Just on Gaza.
Is there anyone else? Yeah.
Kevin Radio, Carly. The IRC is investing in LNG here. How do you see the future of LNG across Canada and the IRC's role in that?
Well, the first is, it's interesting. I mean, in some respects, the second part of your question obviously is a question more for the IRC to answer. They're fully autonomous and very sophisticated in these matters. With respect to LNG and more simply gas, obviously, we know we're here in Inuvik. Existing gas resources are depleting, and there's a need for replenishment. The energy systems here or there, so it starts with that. We see for Canada a role in full partnership with the Inuit rights holders. I'm saying that because I'm in here, but also with First Nations right holders. Tremendous opportunities in LNG. We have, for example, the Cedar LNG project in British Columbia, which is in full partnership with the Haisla Nation. LNG Canada is another example. We see a host of opportunities there. And so that's part of what we're trying to determine is organizations, and I'll finish here, which organizations such as the IRC, who bring ideas, bring their expertise, and then what can we do as the federal government to help facilitate that all. And this is probably the right place to end it, to go back to the previous question, or the first question, all consistent with the environmental standards, and in Inuit-Nunagat, consistent with those procedures outlined in the modern treaties.
Prime Minister, just really quickly on gas, you said that your government is prepared to take more actions. What more actions are you prepared to take?
So now we'll take a look at Pierre Poilievre, and I don't think he's a savior of Canada by any means. However, he's a much better choice, it would occur to me, and I spend a lot of time watching this stuff, following it, tracking it, like investigating what is going on behind the scenes. He would seem like a better option for Canadians these days. Let's take a listen to Pierre Poilievre. Here we go.
Hi, everyone. Congratulations, you're spending more money on taxes than on food, clothing, and shelter combined. That is the finding of the Fraser Institute's July 22nd, 2025 report, and it reports on last year, which shows that the tax burden of Canadians is up 2,784% since 1961, so just over 60 years ago, and that bill is vastly outstripping the bills that you pay for everything else. I'm going to quote directly from my laptop on this report. Taxes have grown much more rapidly than any other single expenditure for average Canadian families. Expenditures on shelter are up 2,100%, food up 927%, clothing up 460%, but the tax bill is up to 2,784%. So an absolutely staggering amount of money that is going to taxes. So the average family is spending 42% now on taxes. That is compared to 35% on food, clothing, and shelter. So you have to ask yourself, are you getting more from the government than you're getting from your private expenditures on food, clothing, and shelter? I have a hard time believing it. There are so many different taxes. We've got income tax, payroll tax, health tax, sales tax, property tax, profit tax, liquor, tobacco, amusement, and other excise taxes, fuel, motor vehicle license fees, and then other taxes. Then you've got natural resource taxes. These are the royalties that are paid when companies extract resources from the ground. And then, of course, there are import duties that you pay when you buy things from abroad. All of those fees, charges, and other levies amounting to a tax bill that is far greater than anything you spend on anything else. In fact, the report goes even further. On page 6, they show the overall tax bill that includes the deficit. Now, the reason they do that is that deficits are taxes. You're taxed two ways through government deficit spending. One is through the deferred bill that you'll get later on, because, of course, deficits do have to be paid back one way or the other, and that bill does come to you. And the second way that deficits charge you is they increase the money supply, which causes inflation, and that inflation does charge you. It's a tax as well. And they show here that since 1961, that bill has grown dramatically as well, to the point where it is now higher than in any year except for the 2020 COVID year, which is, of course, a very unusual year indeed. But the point is that government's insatiable appetite is causing you a tremendous burden. It's like the private sector is a skinny man and the government is a fat man on his back. And the private sector is carrying that increasingly fat man up an increasingly steep hill. It's time to put him on the diet. It's time to reduce the cost of government. We need to cut bureaucracy, consultants, foreign aid, corporate welfare, and countless other things to bring down the cost of government. We also need a dollar-for-dollar law that will require government to find $1 of savings for every new dollar of spending, so that there's an imposed discipline, an either-or trade-off required. So you spend more here, you have to spend less there. That's what you do in your household budget, and only then will we be able to reduce this insane bill that is falling on your shoulders and crippling your family's ability to succeed. Low taxes mean that you get rewards for your work, that your investments pay off, that people are incentivized to create more, to grow more food, produce more energy, build more homes, invent new life-changing technologies. All of these things should be rewarded, and we should aim to make ourselves one of the lowest tax nations in the world. That would free up a lot of money for you to do great things for yourself and for your family, and that is what we are fighting for as conservatives: smaller governments with big citizens. Thank you very much.
We'll wrap it up right there, guys. Aaron Canadian Looney right here. Get your Canadian federal politics right here. We follow all this stuff. Like, share, subscribe. We've got other videos floating around here. That's it. Give the channel a chance. Smash that subscribe. We're trying to get to 30,000 subs. That'd be nice. Anyhow, that's it. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next video. We're out.